Well, hello there, everybody. How are you doing? It is Thor's Day, and we certainly are on Thor's threshold, I would say. Welcome.
Yes.
I love that, man. How about that for an intro? and, and anyway, speaking favor over us all, nothing missing, nothing broken. Be of service to others, as we say. Isby, man, we're just sending you that protection, that breath of life. I didn't sense it was your time. But it's interesting. Before I introduce Cortney, hello, Cortney. How you doing, everybody? This is Cortney. I was in meditation this morning, and I was doing some healing on a loved one in the astral, and it was interesting because I think, and I'll have to check with Isby, but probably about the time when he was having this, I just saw this energy, which was an individual. I thought it was one of my family, but it apparently may have been someone else. But anyway, I'd seen this. It was just a sickly, kind of a yellow, kind of that green kind of energy, and yeah. So who knows? So, Cortney, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Soul Tribe family, and so good to have you on. And how are you?
Well, like you asked a little bit ago, I'm kind of a little bit nuts today, guys. That sun, the sun flares. Whenever the sun is acting up, my flame, my whole being starts going, yeah, yeah,
Ooh, I
starts
like that.
shaking. But I will say, my husband, he's the complete opposite side. When the sun starts acting up, it knocks him out.
Mm.
It's all those little jolts. He just wants to lay out. He just can't handle it. So we're two opposites.
Maybe that's why it's such a good combination. I mean, that's how we
Yes.
grow. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Lynn is, we were talking about this last night, that she says, if I had met you 30 years ago, she says, there's no way, that I would have even
Even thought,
fandom. Yeah.
even thought
Yeah.
about it.
And
Well,
now she says, I can't think of nothing else. So, yeah.
yeah. I see it as, for me personally, because I have such a deep relationship with the sun, I see us humans as like little batteries.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just absorbing and absorbing and absorbing. And if we don't send it out, if we don't get rid of it, if we don't let it just be a channel to flow down to Gaia and back up and just, or heal people, or send, this week in particular, I'm going over to Ukraine, Russia. This morning I was in Russia, and using the energy that's available right now and putting domes of light, putting that, but other people, they're not aware, or they react differently to the power of the energy. And so we're all just these little batteries. And if we don't release it, that's why people are crazy by August. Everybody's fighting, everybody's rioting. You got to release it. So I'm happy I'm here. I might babble. I might be a rambling back.
Completely fluid to me. I mean, so I'm right there with it, so I'm cool about it.
Cool.
And I love that, because it is true. I mean, people, they don't know, how do I put this? Discharge would probably be a really good word. I
That's a
mean,
good word. Yeah. Yeah.
even in electricity, as those who know about electrical work, you have a capacitor. And if you exceed the capacitor, if you don't have an ability to feed off that energy, you're going to have a problem.
You're going to have a meltdown.
Yes, exactly what you're going to have.
Yeah.
Literally, as they
Yeah.
would say, literally.
Tuesday, when you had Trina on and you were talking about all the solar flares that were going to happen today, I went, oh man, the day I'm going to talk, I'm going to be taking on.
Yeah, it's hitting
flares.
us right now. I mean,
Yeah.
That, and it was the most interesting filament. I'm going to go back and actually capture a screen of it. That symbol of what that filament looked like when it broke loose. We'll have a discussion on that. And I think that the sun is a living energy, and it's massive, and it has a way of teaching us things that we still haven't quite
Yes.
learned yet.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, I love you, Wayne.
Hey,
And
that's
I
all right,
love
man.
the soul tribe. The soul tribe is so dear and so beautiful, and I love them all. Oh,
They are a groovy bunch of people, I have to say.
are
I mean, you know,
yeah,
we're
lovely
gonna
beings.
and there is a purpose. I mean, nothing happens in the universe just by what I would say happenstance. It
Yeah.
doesn't. And particularly when you start pulling in that this many light beings, energy workers,
Yes.
wherever you want to call us,
Yes.
we are one of the same bolt of cloth, different parts of the bolt of cloth, but that's what makes the bolt so interesting.
Yeah. And
But
more will come. More
yes,
coming.
yep,
Because more, like Trina talks about the spark, I refer to it as the flame. And same concept, but when she talks about it, people are being introduced. Either they're being introduced to the concepts that will lead them there, or they're being introduced to their actual spark. And I'm very excited. I'm very, very, and here's the thing. Mine's a flame. Mine is no longer a spark. I'm a flame. And think about it. What does flame eat? What does it build off of? Air. One
true.
day that pendulum has to swing back and we will control the air. The flame will eat it up and we will be communicating more and more,
It's interesting that you say that. How should we say how synchronicity is this? I mean, the communication that's part of the project of what we're going to be doing in this group. It's actually the second project. This is the second workshop. 70 people, folks, I think I've said that, have already
Nice.
signed up. Now, if you've sent me the email, you're in a file. There's so many coming in. Trina said she saw 72. I think we're only 2 away from that. But that is the goal, is to begin to start learning to communicate telepathically.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, this is all in this electrical sun, because what we need to do is to
Mhm.
complete the circuit.
Yep.
And the only way a circuit works is that if you're grounded, and then if you have the discharge.
Exactly.
Whew.
I'm tracking right with
Hello.
you.
My
Tracking.
goodness.
And I try to tell people this because, we get worried because of who controls the airwaves now. And I'm thinking, if we can just get that spark into a flame, it'll start eating. They'll start eating all that air, and then bring it back out into all the lovely light that flame that we have being fireborn. Oh yeah, I can't wait, man.
And and if you think about this, so you use the term "they control the airwaves," and it's really interesting. I don't know how many of y'all remember the movie Contact. Carl
Yeah.
Sagan wrote that script. So here's the deal: we don't need to build a network, a transmitting line. It's already there. We're just going to hitchhike on it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
if you remember
Yes.
in in the
Yes.
movie Contact,
Yes.
how did the aliens contact us? Well, they sent layer upon layer upon layer.
Yep.
And yeah. And
Oh,
so that's how I look at it.
oh, because you're there. You're already there. That's why. And that's why us doing this has such importance because we're already there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to thank Linda Brooks. She will be helping assist me. Talk to Lisa. I needed some help on this because, now I think we will reach that 72. And as we put the material together, this is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah.
For many of us who are going to be part of this, it's going to have some interesting, everything's cause and effect. Why? We know that's part of the 7 principles,
Right.
right?
It's a law. Yeah.
It is a law. It's a law. And it's speaking of the law and it's a lot about what you teach on your
Yeah.
channel, right?
I try.
Well, I know you don't try, you're succeeding,
Thank you. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I got with a bunch of people on Instagram because I have more followers on Instagram and I am so new to technology. And everybody said, start teaching hermetics first, start teaching hermetics. And for me, no matter what principle you're talking about, what law, I always go back to Toth. He is my ultimate. So I'm teaching it kind of via.
Well, I'm curious about that, Cortney. So how did you come now, do you, because we're all thought forms and thought and I believe that the thing is, I don't believe it's a created thought form. I think it's one that actually truly manifested and ascended beyond that. So my question is, your background is a teacher, right?
Yeah, I taught for a little bit, but I ran youth programs and case management for, let's just say, young gang members outside Chicago. That's
okay. That requires a powerful energy to be able to immerse oneself into that environment and still maintain that autonomy.
Yeah. I guess, I grew up, I grew up in that area,
okay.
So I was already immersed in that. And I guess to be a little personal, you and Grandpa Brian and stuff were talking yesterday a little personally about background. I come from a very dangerous kind of household. And it's so interesting that, my dad would do like crazy things like guns to your head. And then 2 weeks later, he would go, Cortney, you know why I do this? So you can get over the fear of death, because it's the only thing stopping humans. Do I agree with his logic? Do I agree with his methods? No, not in any way, shape, or form. But later in life, when I'm working with gang members and they come in with guns, I go, get that damn gun out of here. Because I don't have any fear of it. I don't have any fear of death. I had to work through it at such a young age.
Well, that's kind of the old school teaching. I mean, it's like how I learned how to swim. I was thrown into the lake. You're either going to sink or swim, baby.
Yeah. And so I'm not condoning what my father did. And I have he's passed now, but I have a good relationship with him. And it wasn't until
But he was true. His statement's right. I was
older that I was like, oh my goodness, he actually gave me such a great service after I worked through all the trauma and emotions. Because I don't have that fear of death, I don't have that limitation on what I'm going to do, how I'm going to perceive and own this life. I don't have that. And I do feel that really taking all that in, that is what stops us. This fear of this concept of death. Mm-hmm. And so I do what you will with that. I don't know.
No, you're so spot on this. I mean, my father's passing, his thing is that he had a fear of death. I mean, he was deathly afraid of death.
Most people are.
Yeah, and it's true. Lynn, she's been a nurse for, longer than she'll ever admit to. But, as she says, there's two types of death. There are those who seem to accept it. Yeah. And there's no fear. There's a peace. Yeah. There's a serenity. In some cases, as she said, and it's rare, she said, but you almost have this anticipation. And then you have those. It's tragic. They have to literally drug them.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I don't want to go that. I'm not going to go that way. I'll be going in my sleep. But nevertheless, it's like when death comes, if death does exist, and we know it's the transition, right?
Right.
It's a spirit.
Yeah.
I got nothing to be afraid of a spirit about. I'm a spirit.
Well, when we finally can accept that too, I feel then we can also start letting go of these mortal things, which is what we have. In many parts, layers of ascension, we also have to do that.
Yeah. And, I mean,
they're so attached to death as well for some reason. And it's fascinating.
Alan Watts said that, he said, death is, and he said, and I like how he said this, is the most orgasmic thing that we'll ever experience.
Right on, man. Right on.
He says that's why you do it,
Yeah.
And if you can adapt that, you're going to be just like Mr. Megorian, you know, the
Right.
character that Dusty played. And now that, you know, is that when it's your time, man, baby, hop on board. You know?
But see, you know, and that was the thing. It prepared me for the life I was going to live.
Yeah.
Like with
Yeah.
these kids, I had a, you know, of course I had a boss, and he was like, wow, Cortney, if ever you stay calm in all situations, when there's danger, when there's this, when there's that. And that's what made me so good at my job.
Can I ask you something?
And
Because
I could get to those kids also, because they grew up a lot the same way I did.
yeah, that's kind of the question. Because, you know, I grew up in a state home, and, you know what that environment is like. And in your experience, and, you know, that's part of the initiation. It really is.
Yes.
You were just going through your form of initiation. So let me ask you, were you, I don't like to use the word awakened, but were you becoming aware of, for instance, hermetics, you know, at that time?
Gosh. See,
Or is
I
it like
also
the
grew up,
kid said, you know, forget the dreams, dude, man, I'm just trying to survive.
yeah. See, that's the thing, is that, you know, I also grew up in a household that talked a lot about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were usually smoking a lot of stuff and doing things while they were talking it, which is groovy.
When in
But
Rome.
yeah, when in Rome.
Yeah.
So I already and I was that kid that just sat around with the adults, soaking it all up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I already had an idea. And what's funny is when maybe 2 days ago, I was thinking about, oh, Cortney, you're going to be talking about the emerald tablets. Your flame is going to go nuts because I just love it. And I was thinking, my goodness, I have a lot of tattoos, but really the first tattoo that I got, other than a cover up I had to do, was the Eye of Horus on my back, covered in blue flames. Wow. I got that when I was like 19. I didn't meet the emerald tablets until like 20 years later. I think and my connection to the sun, I was the kid that would overheat nonstop. So they had to teach me warning signs of if I was going to pass out, because I'd be having to be thrown into ice baths. I already had. So what I guess I'm saying is my flame was already lit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what those kids that I worked with could see. And I had already used it because I had no fear of death to go, you're not coming in here like that. You're not doing this. And I would speak with authority, but they would respect it because they knew I came exactly from where they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, yeah. So yeah, it was all in preparation. So hermetics, I know you.
Yeah, how'd that lead you? Because that is it seems, number one, not even on the same polarity line. And so tell us, how did you arrive at that? I mean, because that's quite the arrival.
Well, okay, so I will say I'm not against hermetics, but the writing, okay, so he kind of lost me at page 1. Yeah, but have I read everything? Yeah, but he kind of lost me at page 1 with be pious, be pious. I have to tell you, Wayne, I'm not pious to anyone or anything. If anything, I gotta be more pious to my own flame.
I think that's maybe what he was actually saying. Be true to thyself above all things.
Yes, but when I go to teach or when I go to share with others, that word in today's world represents something so much different that's why I always go back to Toth, because those words that he's using, there's not too much confusion there. So that's why, because when I first started reading hermetics, I must have been like 22 or something. I mean, I was also reading
pretty young age.
I was also reading the Dead Sea Scrolls at that time, and I had just gotten out of a very large stint of being an Ayn Rand follower. So, yeah, I always read differently than other people, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit more advanced reading than the common man would typically find, you know.
Well, you know, they didn't think I could read in grade school. They didn't think I could. Nope.
And I figure I have a feeling that wasn't the first time you surprised them.
Yeah. Oh, I was tested all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, hardcore testing. They gave me the Rorschach test. You don't give a child the Rorschach test. And they said, supposedly that, I have some disabilities, well, it's kind of, I also was diagnosed with shell shock. Which
And
is
disability
PTSD.
just means you're divided from your ability.
Right.
So it means you can always get united with your ability.
Right. Oh, it kicked in 6th grade.
Yeah.
But
wonderful.
But they also then said, we keep studying you, Cortney, because for some reason in verbal communication, you score at a 60% higher comprehension level than the average person.
Mm-hmm.
They kept studying me because they would bring doctors from Chicago. That was early on and my parents put an end to it because of the psychic abilities. They put an end to it in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Were your parents, your dad had wisdom, but it's curious, was there ever what you would call a spiritual component to your, okay. Was it primarily Christianity?
Oh, no, that's what's so weird. So they said my dad really followed the Plains Indian beliefs. My mother was like a mixture of like Druid Buddhist.
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah.
She was raised Catholic. So she left all that. But it was so weird that they would say, Cortney, study them all and you figure it out for yourself.
Wise
but
parent.
Then in moments they would say, but you need to stay away from that Christianity stuff.
That's probably one of the best gifts they gave you. I mean, it probably saved you a lot of deprogramming.
I actually went Christian for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think you have to. I mean, at least go through one of the Abrahamic belief systems.
I believe you have to. And I got a lot out of it. And that actually introduced me to like Jewish mysticism, which then introduced me to who really is Satan, who really is this Lucifer, who really is right. So I don't think I could have done the full circle that I am now at, because that was well before I was introduced to the emerald tablets. I don't think I could have done that full circle without stepping into Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually learned a lot about love there, because I would meditate with Jesus all the time. And that
as a thought form, as a tulpa, an egregore, he exists.
Yes.
I mean, we've created him.
Yes.
I think it's one of those useless arguments that just becomes redundant, is that, doesn't matter whether he physically existed or not. He does exist.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And people can't get over, they have a confusion with that. They say, well, how can you say that you don't think that he physically walked, but yet you're saying that he is in fact a physical being?
Oh, well, Christ in one of my meditations with him, it kept going over and over again through the years of doing it with him. It'd be like, look at that mountain over there, Cortney, you got to go get to that. Okay, now we're at the foot of the mountain. You got to climb that mountain. And then at one meditation, I was like, I'm not climbing that mountain. He went, okay, how much faith do you have? I said, I got tons of faith. And he said, now look up. There was no mountain. And that's exactly what it is. It's our thoughts. And if I'm thinking I have to walk this mountain, trudge up this mountain, then I have to. But let me tell you, if you think and see that there is no mountain, there's no mountain.
Listen, as I have said before, the 50 years that I spent in Christendom, I'm grateful for it. It was a very long initiation process, but I wouldn't be where I am here today if it wasn't for that experience.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful in so many levels that I was able to actually break free of that. And, and that's part of the process here, because once you break through a belief system that has provided that safety net, so to speak, once you break free of that and there is no safety net, now you're really going to find out what you really is you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a sense that you've been there.
Over and over and over again.
It never stops.
It's
never.
odd to me, Wayne, that you say people can't wrap their heads around that, he's a thought form. I have learned, especially through my husband talking things out with him, I just take things for granted because I take it for granted that I fully understand and know, Wayne, you're a thought form. I'm a thought form. All came from the first thought. First was thought, then word, everything else because of cause and effect, you know what I mean? Causation. So I just take it for granted, I guess, that I think this way and just know. And then when I hear other people say, well, yeah, a lot of people can't wrap their heads around that, I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Okay. So how do we get them? How do we help them there?
We had some friends over yesterday afternoon, and they have a young daughter. I think she's 7. Yeah. And anyway, she's a extremely bright child, so is her brother. But so I asked her, I said, well, so she was telling what she had learned at school. And I said, well, have you found your soul yet? And I love the cognition of a 7-year-old mind, because she immediately stopped and she said, I didn't know I had one. And I thought, you write those things down because this is it was deep. I mean, but this was a child who,
out of the lips of babes.
Yeah, she had, it was immediate, but as she said, I didn't know I had one.
Okay, now I have to write that on my list of to-do list.
You think about it. Yeah. It's either a true I guess advantage or disadvantage. I don't know, because when you introduced the idea of a soul, now is it the fact that if what was responding, was it her spirit?
Oh, and a 7-year-old, it might have been.
I think it was.
It could have been the spark saying she doesn't know yet.
It's profound. It's freaking real deep, because I was showing her some crystals, and we were, and she was very intuitive. But that statement, I didn't know I had one. And if you're an adult and you just merely fluff that off, then you need to go back and spend a little bit more time thinking, because she was speaking from, I guess, the purest part of her essence.
Yes. Yeah.
I know. I mean, maybe from a mom's perspective, you might have a different reaction, but her mom was, and Lynn, and Lynn said, well, she's only 7 years old. How would she know? And I said, but wait a minute. I said, what I know is that I'm talking to a spirit who's been here before. Now she's come back in. And that's what, as Lynn said, kids love me. She said, because you don't talk to them as kids. I said, they're not.
Right. Yeah. My parents had that rule. Do not talk to her as a child.
No.
Yeah. Because she's not going to be one, and she definitely isn't one. I kind of came out as the old crone.
You may find one who is still connected to their past life.
Yes.
That does happen. Because I understand the separation. Go ahead, huh?
That's why, I'm sorry.
No.
That's how I learned meditation. So I was taught meditation when I was 8, because I was having horrible nightmares, really based on past lives. And so my mom taught me meditation when I was that young. And then I just kind of rolled with, I just kept going. And when I was working with the young gang members, they can't sleep. If you have ever shot somebody, you're not able to sleep. And so I use meditation with them, because you got to get sleep first. That's the first part of anything, So it's just odd to me that I think even as a child, I knew there was something within me. Even if maybe because I hated being here so much.
A lot of truth to
Something
that.
inside of me was like, this place is horrible. Get me out of here.
Yeah. I mean, Trina and I've talked with Trina many times with this group, that my earliest cognition that I was not of this world is that I would find myself immersed in I don't know what it was, a color, and it was just all around me. And it was odd because even at the age, I think I was 4, that the perception of the blending still hadn't fully taken hold here yet.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
as I
Very good light
meditate
to be.
now, yeah, as I speak to my higher self, as I've come to this conclusion, is that I no longer ponder what I was in the past. It's more important now for me, as I begin to make the preparation to transcend to that other side, is that it's important for me to make sure that I've accomplished what I came in here. That's the
Yes.
great thing about youth. It
Yeah.
is that time for all of us. We give ourselves a break, because no
Yeah.
one likes childhood. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, you get sick, you can't take care of yourself. I mean,
You
there's
have
just
no power.
exactly, and you're at the mercy of
Mhm.
supposed mature adults, which
Yes.
that's a myth.
Right.
And like in your upbringing, and then in mine, you get in these environments that where many people they went through school, 5th grade, junior high, high school, did the prom thing. I never had any of that. I was on the street.
Yeah.
And, in the midst of that, fortunately, I came in at a place where it was not like in the violence.
Yeah.
It was peace, love, rock and roll, and let's get
Right.
high.
It's cool
Yeah.
to jaywalk. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, go
Wait,
ahead,
can
huh?
I say something real quick
Sure.
about that? And maybe I just remembered back in December, I was in the Akashic Records for somebody else, but it also had came up before. They very much need everyone who is raising young children to give them some kind of form of faith. Because I remember, and I guess this needs to be brought up, anybody who's listening, because that is lacking big time. So it doesn't really ever matter what your faith is, as long as you have something. And that's a perfect example. There shouldn't be a 7-year-old that goes, "Oh, I never knew I had something."
Yeah.
There's got to be something there. So, and they talked to me extensively of the damage it does to us globally when young children are not raised with some kind of concept.
I
Light and love.
Ching
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care what it is, but yeah.
I Ching says that, if you want to know the future, see what young children are focusing
Yes.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going, oh crap, because we've got 40 years of people in video games where killing is the whole objective.
Yeah.
At some point in time, that egregore becomes very powerful and begins to influence us globally.
Yes. Right. Right. That's
And
why
I
we're
believe
going
that's
to do
where
what
we
we're gonna
are.
do. Yeah, that's why you're doing what you're doing, getting people together, because we have all the power to create something bigger and greater, full of love, full of light, that can override whatever that is, because that's actually happening subconsciously, not even really consciously. We can make a subconscious and conscious effort with our intentions and words that will always create something bigger than what is not conscious being made, if that makes sense.
Sure it does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the time is, the clock is running. I mean, I used to be into, the whole Nibiru, and, there was still that tentacle, because that egregore is about death. That's all it is. It may be a freaking, light show, but it's about death.
Right.
And that is something that hit me. It was really about 2015, 2016. And something happened to me. Number one, the encounter with Lilith, that happened March of 2016. And since that encounter, Lynn and I were talking about it, there has been this dramatic change.
I've actually been watching you since then.
Is that right?
Yes. So the only reason that people don't know who I am is that I was driving a school bus. It's 2:00 when
I
you
rem
start. So I
yes.
always was on a school bus, and there's no way I could be like in the chat room while driving kids around, because even though I got out of case management and even got out of teaching, it's never the kids. It's always the administration. It's always the establishment for me. And I've learned to not burn it down anymore. Just walk away, Cortney. This saves people a lot of grief. So I was driving a school bus so I could still have some kind of positive influence on children.
Yeah.
So I would watch you. My husband introduced me to you. He met you in 2015, 16, 15. And then he's like, Cortney, check this guy out. He reminds me so much of you. You even talk alike. So then I started watching, but it was always later. But I would read then the chats. So then when I started actually finding out, or I found when you were live and I jumped right in, I must have looked crazy because I was like, oh, people, okay, because I had been reading and following for years without being able to say anything.
I had no idea,
No, it's lovely. And I bet you, Wayne, there's a lot of people like me out there.
Oh,
You're on at 2:00 for me.
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So there's a lot of people, like when you did the Saturday one, I was like, I wonder how many will show up because they had an opportunity. So I think there's a lot of people that are watching you, Wayne. They're listening. They're letting this, roll through everything. So I believe you're making a much bigger impact because I know the energy right now in April it's kind of has that essence of like anxiety. And it's because star seeds like us or light workers or whatever, we are feeling that pulsion of game on, man, game on. Now it's time, because all these other then beings are waking up and they're going, what's happening? Everything was a lie. Everything was a lie. So we're feeling their anxiety mixed in with our propulsion of like game on. So that's the energy happening right now. And I've been listening the past few weeks. And I'm like, oh, Wayne's feeling it. He knows it's game on, man.
It's like, you're suddenly getting the signals coming in from the sideline, and you're telling yourself, they're showing you, the clock is running down.
Yes.
You got to get, and there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah,
I mean,
feeling that.
Yeah. It is. That's why we're going to be doing this. What's that, hon?
Yeah, my flame has me shaking sometimes because I'm like, come on, just come on, world, come on, people.
we need that kind of energy because we are going to actually create our own egregore.
Yes.
And I was writing to Linda Brooks this morning and to another person. This is number one. I am surprised by the amount of people that are wanting to be a part of this.
I'm so proud.
It's a testament to this group. I mean, like, wow, okay. And it's energy like yours that when we start this blending, I saw this already. You may have said it, that, it's already been created, this whatever is coming. And I keep on seeing the twin helix, but it's in a color of spirals that it's wow, it's kind of a blending and a congealing, but yet it's dynamic, ever flowing. That's what I'm seeing where this project is concerned, and it's being validated by the amount of people that are saying yes. Give me 1 second here. I want to take care of something. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, I had to take care of something. So, Divine Empress, I did see your email. So, just to let you know, I saw it, and I saw all the emails, folks. So, so I'd like to get your take. What do you see happening here?
Well, first of all, Wayne, it is already forming because we're talking about it.
Yeah, true.
Period.
Yep.
I mean, our words are so powerful. So it's already forming some. And well, for people, let's just bring it to the people first. I see it as one of the most powerful, transformative things someone could do for themselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's what, so, because I'm always going to be at the level of the people first, and then we can keep going, you know? So I see that definitely being, and I'm including myself in that package. You know what I mean? I'm including you, Wayne. I mean, even though we might have experienced things, this on the scale that you're doing is going to be transformative. So that in itself is worthwhile. Now, what we're forming, oh yeah, man. I got my, yeah. I mean, I don't, can you guys feel this? Like,
And it's
I
true.
don't know if I have the words right now, because
I don't.
because here's the thing. It's a knowing. I know what us humans are capable of. I know how powerful we are. And going through this process, so will everyone else. And that's all it takes. So like my dad used to say, hey, Cortney, this whole world is going to go to blank in a handbasket, or this whole world's going to go up in flames. I'm not going to be here. So what are you going to do about it?
Mm.
Well, the only thing I can come up with that is more powerful than them is our flame. It's going to be like a Care Bear stare, man, that they can't do nothing against that. They can't do nothing against it. We are way more powerful, extremely way more powerful.
I'm going to remember that. A Care Bear stare. I don't know what the hell that is, but I love it.
That's for anybody who grew up in the 80s. So it's like, it's what we can create, what we can do. I mean, I know the power of us humans. I do. And I'm here to try to amplify the optimism to get them to understand that, yes, you all have that power.
I had a person who wrote me, actually was at Woodstock. And he said, what you're doing, he says, is what we tried to capture there. He said, we were in small groups, but he said, your knowledge, he said, you would have been like this master wizard back in the late 60s. He said, but he's got this thing. He said, we didn't know about egregores. We didn't know about how we can actually control thought and mold it. And this is what we're doing. We're creating in essence, a consciousness.
Yes. And here's the thing. I go with how Trina says it. Let's keep it simple. Because the concepts, the ideas, the practices, they appear difficult, but what it really takes is just know.
Yeah.
Know you can do it. You know what I mean? Just know.
And what you're going to learn in this, you're going to learn the techniques that they teach on telepathic communications. And it's not that difficult. It's very simple exercises. And once it seeps in, I'm really expecting, getting the reports. Folks, we're going to be doing this in a way that you're going to be proud to be a part of this. There are going to be weekly reports. We're going to be able, Linda is helping. And if you have an analytical background, let me know as well. We want it, and let everyone know it's going to be a 6 weeks project, the first one. So it's going to require 5 minutes a day on a Sunday. We're going to set 6 a.m. If your magic time is 3 a.m., that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll be focusing in on a keyword. And just to let you know, we will be randomly choosing a shape. And that's all we want you to do is focus in on the keyword and then tell us what you see. And you'll be required to send an email to myself or to Linda. And if there's another person with analytics, we'll get that. Then we will tabulate what we see in the commonality of the group. And the idea is that each week we move the ball just a little bit down.
A little bit more. Can I say something that to anyone who's going, I don't know if I'm capable? Because this is what we're trying to teach people is we are very capable.
We're all capable. Yeah.
I will say you're also not alone. You know what I mean? I know that I know how much my energy can hold. So I know I won't let people fall.
Yeah.
You see what, and I know what your energy can hold. I know what Linda's energy can hold, that type of thing. Meaning you can still participate even if you have doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're here to hold you while you are learning and growing and doing and experiencing. Yeah. I think it's going to be brilliant, just brilliant.
And it's so funny because, really the way I see that this thing forming is to be of service to others. That's really the key foundation of it. I mean, we came up with the name. I remember when the name came to me in one of my astral travels, and that's what I was told. I said, all right, Bosto, so we've got so much we've laid. This group has labored, Cortney, and even as you have been a part of that, your husband, we've labored for years on this.
Yeah.
This is not something new.
Right. And I want to also say, every time this airs or somebody rewatches it, our words, in my opinion, are working all the time.
Yes.
They're working all the time. So when we say Bosto, when we say, whatever it may be, it's working. So all the people here in the tribe, Wayne, you putting this out there every time somebody listens, every time somebody connects with the words, it is working. And it's been years. It has been years. And we're all just apart. I find it interesting that so many people are like, I'm going to start a channel too. I'm going to start a channel too. And it's like, come on. Yes, we can do it. Yes. I mean, I just recently started a channel just this past year when I never thought I have a writing degree. I never thought I would actually be speaking it because I was taught you got to put it all in a book for people to understand.
Can I tell you something that I was shown? So this is being broadcast out at space, just a little bit less than the speed of light. It is heading out there, and it's also heading out there in the ethereal. Yes. Now, here's what's interesting. There are other beings. They're not human, but they're like us. They're conscious. They're aware. They're watching. They're selecting which stream they're watching. What I'm trying to say is that when you do your channel, Cortney, and you speak out there, it's you, it's your image, it's your vibration, it's your frequency. There are beings that are actually very much, they're watching. Now, there are many others that are not.
Yes.
But it never stops.
It never stops.
And when you make the transition over, you're going to be well recognized.
Oh,
well, besides your parents saying, we did that. And you're going, yeah. Funny thing, though, I don't remember you actually being there. Because it's absolutely true. And
hey, man, at my party, everybody's welcome. So yeah, I love it.
So what are you building over there? I mean, I have my beach. I know Brian, Milky Way, he was building his place out there. David Barry is building his mansion. I think it's going to be fabulous.
Mine is a lot of rolling hills, and Brad and I were just talking about it, so our dogs can run around and hiking. Mine is a lot still nature. Because I can't imagine anything. I'm not so much beach person. It takes out my flame. So I'm not so much beach person.
I can dig that. I can dig that.
But give me a mountain, give me any rolling hills, give me anything of that, and I'm very content. Yeah, Brad and I were talking about it just 2 days ago, driving home in the car. And I think he needed to express what
I saw you in this valley and with two dogs. One was blonde, one was a white dog. And it's interesting because I saw not only the yellow flowers, but I also saw the blue bonnets and the Indian paintbrushes,
Oh, yeah.
That's what I saw.
That is,
Is
it's a
that right?
lovely
Because, I want
time.
to make sure I have the right, the right marker so that when I do cross over that I can make sure that I'm in the right place.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll put
Just
a,
making sure.
I'll have signs on the door like, uh, gosh, I don't even know what it would say. I always wanted to, Pippi Longstocking. Does anybody remember Pippi?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Her house was called Villa Kula.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, that would be such a cool name for a house. So
Yeah.
maybe you'll have to look for a sign Villa Kula.
It's interesting when you said that name. I just immediately thought of the Nancy Drew stories and then the Hardy Boys.
Yes, and the Hardy
Growing
Boys.
up,
Yeah.
I read all the Hardy Boys.
I was in love with the boxcar kids because I'd be just at school not paying attention to anything happening, staring out the window thinking, I could do that. I could live in a boxcar. I don't have to be at my house. I know how to survive. I know how to make dinner. I know, like, I could do that.
And I'm just going to make this observation, because I don't know your environment. It was challenging. Mine was challenging. And it's interesting how as I look at it now, these were protection that we gave ourselves before we came in here. And this thing called daydreaming, because many abused children that are dealing with, because the physical abuse is not what hurts. It's the spirit that's being damaged. I have someone who I love very dearly. And, he, unfortunately, his spirit was broken very young, and it shows itself now. But my point is that we use that daydreaming because it allowed us to astral project out.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was out there where we found our healing.
I once daydreamed for 14 hours.
That's not daydreaming. That's lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
That's like, that's splitting between two realities.
Yeah. I did it nonstop. And you're just leaving. But at the same time, I also felt like I was creating. Because I was always thinking of what life could be, or what could I do later in life, or just coming up with all sorts of scenarios. I think that's why I got a fiction degree, coming up with all sorts of scenarios that I was also creating, because some of those scenarios, did they happen? Not necessarily, but the essence or the true desire that was there has happened.
Yeah. So fill in the blanks for me here. So now, because man, this hour's almost gone.
The
dweller at some point. So when did you find that moment of enlightenment?
I will say that a very big one for me, because of how I grew up, I also did a lot of drugs and drinking. I mean, I had severe problems. And then
party girl, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's everybody in the chat.
Party girl.
But then at a concert, I ended up twisting my entire foot around. And then I dropped to the ground and I took my hands and I twisted it back to where it was supposed to be and just held on. And after that, I went, oh my goodness, you have to sober up. And during kind of a sobering time period, I was in a lot of meditation because, I couldn't walk. I couldn't go nowhere. It took 4 months. I couldn't go anywhere. And in that, I had to ask myself, I said, okay, I remember I was actually in the shower crying. It was the first time I cried in a long time. And I was sitting in a chair so the water could just pour on me. And I said, okay, Cortney, either you can go right back to the life which is drinking, drugging, fighting, all sorts of stuff, or you could try a whole new path. What are you going to do here? And I kind of just sat there and was like, because this is comfort still, this still has, I know this life. I know that environment, this whole new life of sobriety and possibly health and happiness, like in that moment, I went, you know what? If quote unquote, you only live once, let's flip it right now and see what happens. Because you already know this is not going to change. This stuff is not going to change. This you don't know. Let's try it out. And from that, just taking that initial, it can't kill you. This will definitely kill you. So let's see what happens. And from that, my initial really first awakening, and this is besides spiritual gifts, besides reading and understanding concepts, internal spiritual awakening was me. I was in prayer and meditation and I was crying. I mean, I was sobbing. I think it was just a massive purge. And something said, keep going and you'll be okay. And that's all I needed, because it was never okay. And we all have our own definition of what okay means. But it had never been okay in my life. And when that voice said, just keep going, Cortney, and things will be okay, it went, okay, that's all I got to do. I just got to do one foot in front of the other and not worry about a damn thing, because they said it's going to be okay. And that was it. So that's simple. It can be that simple.
And then you just started the quest on knowledge. I mean,
yeah, then I just continued, because I always had the quest for knowledge, but how much knowledge can you really obtain when you're doing a lot of drugs, a lot of drinking, a lot of this? And I'm not saying psychedelics. I mean, everybody should do, have a little fun sometimes, but I mean, I was completely knocking myself out. I didn't have conscious, so
administering self and what they would call anesthetizing.
Yes. Yeah. So then the quest just kept going in layers and layers and layers, so many layers.
And so how did you get introduced to the emerald tablets? I mean, that's not many people find those, and those that do, not many, the logos never, the Rhema of the logos never actually
really
makes it in.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Goodness, I want to say it might have been my husband. See, I credit my husband with a lot of things.
Good man.
I need him in my life. Yeah, I need him in my life. My mother did when I was young. I remember her mentioning it here and there.
Okay.
But I think it was Brad. Oh, yeah, because we couldn't find a good text for some reason. And Brad, one year for my birthday, was like on search. He wanted me to have it.
Excellent.
And so he gave it to me for a birthday gift. And I was so excited. And I just started reading. And I went, bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. This is what everything about me resonates with. I don't get confused. I don't get confused when I read it. I don't skip a beat. It is exactly what. And I will tell you, shortly after that, I went and became a Reiki master. And when I was doing that course, or when I was getting my, my master in it, the teacher, they're working on me and doing all this stuff. I come out of it. She goes, Cortney, the emerald tablets just downloaded into you. She could visibly see them like being downloaded kind of into me. And I was like, okay, cool. And she was like, you don't understand. And I was like, I already get it, man. So if they're living here, that's groovy. Because if before it was here, now it's here. Now I can do this. Yeah. And so, like I said, I love hermetics because it is essentially all the same jazz. But for me, the words, the feel, I go with the emerald tablets of Toth the Atlantean every day. Yeah.
Excellent.
The prayers in there too, man. If you start using those prayers, that's some mighty, mighty stuff.
And people don't realize, well, a lot of people in here do, but it's fact,
Right.
you have to give them permission.
Yes.
Just works that, that's why I'm not so quick to heal anyone anymore, laying my hands on them, because many times people don't grant permission.
They
And
don't.
so,
And sorry, this is something I'm very passionate about. So I'm glad you brought this up. I don't know where that changed from. You have to ask for permission and they have to grant you permission, because there's so many people that are like, there's a difference between sending love and light and good vibes. Like, yeah, do good, man. It's great. Sending you love, opposed to full on, I'm healing you.
yeah,
There's got to be permission. And however that got all muckety muck, it's got to get back to, there's got to be permission.
because people have been taught that. They've been taught that, that's just showing love. No, what you're really showing is disrespect.
Yes. And
I don't know what that
anybody
person's journey is.
Yes. Right.
Now, if they come to me and said, would you lay hands on me and heal me? That tells me that, all right, they're at that point of receiving, but that's when they give the permission, and permission is granted.
Right. Right. It's two completely different, send in light, love, positive vibes, cool. Actual healing, no. And, I had somebody once that the relationship ended. It was a girl that I had met and we were trying to do kind of a business thing together. The relationship ended and she started telling people, oh, Cortney's evil. Cortney's evil. And then in the same, hold on. And in the same breath, she would say, she blocks my energy from her. If I'm so evil, why would you want to have your energy tied in with mine in the first place? And yes, I block everything, man. Ain't nothing entering this unless I allow it to. Like,
for some reason, I got this picture of a leech. It's like, damn it! I told you no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't suck off her. So now she's the evil one.
Yeah, she's an evil bitch. Going, bet your ass I'm.
Right.
You just have no idea. Well, Cortney, will you come back on?
Well, now I'm going to have to, because I don't think we talked about the dweller at all.
Well, we didn't even get near that. I mean, it was a great title. We'll pick up on it again, but I'd love to have you back on.
Yes, I definitely. And to the tribe, I love you so much. I just do.
And then that means get down there and subscribe to her channel. I left the link. Come on. I mean, she should, I think you're at 65 subscribers or something like that.
No, not even yet. I'm at 35.
Well, I see you hitting 100.
So yeah, I'm Stars of the Morning Light.
Yeah, so, Stars of the Morning Light. It's down there. Go over there, subscribe to her channel, show her some love. And, that's all I got to say. That's how you can do it. It's real easy.
It is.
Yeah, just hit the link and just say, this is fabulous. This is fabulous. And hit that subscribe button, and then hit the, alert button when, you have a show. So there you go.
Wayne, this was so delightful.
Told you it was going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, this was so delightful. Yeah. It's so wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
It's like that song, the Bellamy Brothers, let your love flow like the, anyway, that's what we're doing here. So, all right, everybody. Hey, Divine Empress, she wanted to be, and then she asked to be a moderator. Divine Empress, I'm honored to have you as part of the moderators. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And Courtney, I'll make you one as well. Know your energy now. And so I love it.
Oh, yeah. My energy.
It's groovy, girl. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And give my best to your husband. Just tell him I'm speaking favor over him. And, obviously he is a very in tuned spirit. And what a fabulous find for the two of you to be able to find each other. And now look at the result.
Look at the result. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, Wayne, just months before me sending you that email, I was like, do you think Wayne would talk to me?
Yeah, I'll talk to anybody.
And my husband's like, Courtney, yes, Wayne's wonderful. Wayne will talk to you. So it really, this is all credited to my husband. you
Well,
know,
high
coming
five.
together here.
What's your husband's name?
Brad.
Brad? Well,
Brad.
thank you, Brad. You're a good man, and look forward to meeting you someday. And the Best Damn Podcast, the gentleman, we were going to do a show together. I somehow lost your email. So if you're listening, send me another and we'll get something going. Courtney, you're coming back on. That's all I got to say. You're coming back
Cool.
on. So
Cool.
probably here in the next couple of weeks. So if you've got the time, let me know and we're going to get you on again. People are saying, this went by too quick. I mean, I've read that 4 different times in the chat room.
Yeah. We'll just have to do it again, and then maybe we'll have to stay on the topic.
stay on topic. That's
or we could just
so passe.
We could just take this topic and really just spread it out.
Yeah. Got to get you on with the ladies on Friday. I think that would be fun as well.
Oh, yes. I love them.
Yeah.
I love the ladies.
I believe we're going to be on tomorrow. So may send you an invite too. So there we go.
Cool. I'm here.
All right, everybody. Thank you all. Have yourself a fabulous Thursday. And I'll see you tomorrow. And thank you, Courtney. Just been wonderful. Thank you, Soul Tribe. And the next couple of weeks, just let everyone know, is when we'll start this. We'll probably not start it this Sunday, but next Sunday. So anyway, Courtney, stay with me as I get out of here, folks. Much love to you all. Welcome. And Soul Tribe, we love you.